If you're thinking about moving to New Hampshire because of that no income tax thing that everyone's talking about, there's a few things that you need to know first. I'm Adam Dow. I've lived here for my whole life, been selling real estate for 2 decades, helping hundreds of people find their right home. And honestly, it's not for everybody. I'm going to walk you through the pros and cons of living in New Hampshire, the things that make people want to stay forever, and the things that may want to make you leave after being here for only just a year. But by the end, hopefully, you'll have a clear picture of New Hampshire and whether it's for you. And if it is, give me a call and I'd be happy to find you a dream home here. Let's start with something that most people don't expect. First, we have to talk about the weather. We are a true 4-season state, and that means winter. Concord averages about 68 inches of snow and 12 days under zero. But this is New Hampshire, and we're ready for winter. The state does a great job getting the snow cleared, but there's no way around it. You're gonna have to find someone to shovel if you don't want to shovel, and if you're not used to that, you can be in for a shock. You want to plan a little extra in the budget for heating and get a little practice handling the snowy roads while you're driving. Another thing about New Hampshire is the weather changes quickly. The joke is, if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. You can start the day with sunshine and end with a snowstorm. Summers can surprise you too. There are days where it'll be in the 90s or over 100. That's when you want to go jump in the lake. And here's something else people notice. The seasons are short. The winter it comes and goes, and you're on to mud season, which means spring is coming and the lake's going to be opening up soon. Still, the seasons are what makes this area special. You have the fall foliage, the hot summer nights, cool evenings by the fire. So if you can embrace it and plan for it, you'll end up loving it here. Now, even though those heating bills and plowing bills can pile up, here's something that's really a big advantage for you living in New Hampshire. If you can embrace the change and plan for it, you can end up loving it here. Pro number 1, favorable tax environment. Here's what pulls most people here in the first place: low taxes. There's no income tax or sales tax, so the state doesn't take a cut when you get paid. And when you're at the store, the price on the tag is the price that you pay. That's a big deal when you're coming from places just south of us, Massachusetts and Connecticut, where you're used to paying a good deal in taxes that can really eat in on those retirement savings. It used to be when you compared Florida to New Hampshire from a tax purpose standpoint, interest and dividends tax put Florida as a better place to retire. However, New Hampshire over the last couple of years have phased out interest and dividends taxes. So when you're looking at New Hampshire as compared to other places to retire, strictly for saving money, the fact that they phased out interest and dividends tax, it puts us at the top of the list. However, every state needs income to survive. So how do we raise our revenue? Property taxes. You may have heard that New Hampshire has a high property tax, and that can be the case, especially when you buy a big nice house on the water. Every town taxes its own mill rate, so you must be careful where you choose if bottom line taxes are a huge consideration. Some towns can be way higher than other states. However, if you know the towns to look in, you might actually make out better on your property taxes and still save the income, sales, and interest and dividends taxes. We also do tax our visitors. We have a rooms and meals tax, so when you go out to dinner, budget for the 8.5% tax added onto your meal. Bottom line, yes, we have taxes, but there are certainly ways to be smart about that. You have to look at the whole picture. But when you look at overall taxes, income, state, and other taxes, we still rank 6th in the nation for competitiveness, and we're 48 out of 50 on the tax burden. That means we have one of the lowest tax burdens in the country. So if your goal is solely to save a little money in your retirement, you can choose wisely on the town. But even if you pick one of the other towns in the state, you're still making out overall in the whole clear picture of retirement. And those savings can cover those heating costs and the guy that you hired to shovel. This brings me to something else important. If we haven't met, my name is Adam Dow. I've been selling real estate in New Hampshire for 22 plus years. I have a team of experts across the state. If you like this video and want to see more videos about this and other content, all things New Hampshire, please hit subscribe. All right, so this tax savings are real, but there's another real problem in New Hampshire. And if you're used to getting around with public transportation, listen on. Con number 2, limited transportation options. So let me just put it on the table. Uber is not readily available in some of the smaller towns, including Wolfboro where I live. Yes, it's available sometimes in the height of the season, But if you're used to calling an Uber, you may want to make extra plans while traveling to New Hampshire. Many of the resort towns and main towns have shuttles. Here in Wolfboro, we have JCN shuttle that'll take you to Logan Airport or Manchester and pick you up in the middle of the night. We do have buses that will travel down to Boston from some of the major cities. So we do have transportation. But one of the great aspects of many of our towns is just getting out of your car and walking through the downtown, visiting every shop, getting some ice cream, and enjoying the New England of yesteryear. This is certainly something to think about if you're a retiree and used to public transportation. So let's talk about the town, talk about the options before you make that final decision. So that's transportation. It's manageable if you have a plan, but here's the thing. While you might have to do some extra planning to get around locally, the bigger picture of where New Hampshire sits makes up for it in a big way. This brings me to pro number 2, strategic location and proximity. This is one of the best things about New Hampshire is location and proximity. So people joke that everything in New Hampshire is about an hour away, and that's not far off. Here in Wolfboro, we're about an hour from Portsmouth, about an hour from Manchester, about an hour from Portland, and about an hour from the mountains. Most places in southern New Hampshire, you can be in Logan Airport in just under 2 hours. And honestly, that changes how you live. This proves you can live in a place that has amazing four-season attractions and still have easy access to everything. In a day, you can catch a Red Sox game, you can go to the beach, you can go shopping, or you could head up to the mountains. Moving to New Hampshire doesn't mean that you're isolating yourself. It means that you're putting yourself in a place where you're close to everything that matters. The mountains, the ocean, the beach, and even the city. Sure, it can get a little busy and a little traffic, especially during the holidays, a craft fair, or at the height of the season. And yes, you need a car. With a little local knowledge to get around the traffic, being in New England, you've got incredible access to everything that New England has to offer. Now, being a part of such a beautiful, accessible place has a downside that many people don't think about. Con number 3, permanent house guests. No one thinks about this until they move in, the permanent house guest problem. You bought up here for the peace, the quiet, being next to the water or in the mountains, and the privacy that many of these properties provide. But what usually happens is now everyone wants to visit. And who can blame them? They want to be here for all the reasons that you moved here. The mountains, the lakes, the activities. So once your friends and family find out where you live, your guest room might have a permanent revolving door. Before you know it, you've got visitors in the summer, you've got leaf peepers in the fall, ski weekends. It's great if you love your friends and family, but sometimes it starts to feel like you're running a bed and breakfast. If you enjoy being around people, it can be wonderful, but if you value your quiet time, it can get old fast. Think ahead, set some boundaries. Additional guests can cost a little extra money, but with good communication, you can have wonderful time with your family and friends, and then have those rooms be empty so you can enjoy the house yourself. This is a great problem to have and easily solved with some boundaries. But here's the thing, there's one reason that everybody wants to visit New Hampshire, and once you see what New Hampshire has to offer, you'll understand why. Pro number 3, abundant nature and outdoor activities. Now this one's a big deal. It's what makes New Hampshire stand out from the rest. We have 13 miles of coastline. We have 4,000 miles of hiking trails. We have skiing, Cannon, Waterville, Bretton Woods, Loon, most of which have cross-country trails, tubing, and lots of other winter activities for the kids and the whole family. You've got the lakes, Lake Winnipesaukee being the biggest, Squam Lake being perhaps the most prestigious, and a lot of the bigger small lakes that are spring-fed, crystal clear, and great for all family activities. And if you don't have your own boat, you've got the Mount Washington that cruises Lake Winnipesaukee. You've got a lot of the smaller cruise lines that will do Squam Lake and some of the other small lakes. You've got the waterfront towns to walk the boardwalk. You have science centers, the Squam Lake Science Center. You've got the aquarium up in North Conway. And that's the goal, staying active in retirement. To hike, ski, and explore, New Hampshire has them all. Now with all this natural beauty, it comes with something else you need to be aware of, especially if you like to keep your personal life personal. Con number 4, political polarization. This con is something that's special and unique to New Hampshire. Given that we're first in the nation to vote in its primaries, we get a lot of special attention. Now the state doesn't have a clear blue or red bent. It swings one or the other depending on the year, which means you can't really come here assuming that your political party will be the majority. But what it does come with is a lot of debate, a lot of attention, and a lot of discussion around politics, especially during election years, your phone will ring, just curious on which side you're going to vote as we lead the nation. Another unique thing is the candidates will come here. With being first in the nation and the importance of those early results, we get to meet some of the candidates in person and hear their answers firsthand. We have some that will march in our parades and attend our charitable events, but it can also be exhausting if you're not into politics. Yes, the political buzz comes and goes, but here is what makes it all bearable: the people. Pro number 4, wicked nice people and culture. There's one thing that you can't really measure, but it makes a huge difference, and that's the people. Everyone here is what we call wicked nice. And if you're not from New England, wicked means really. And it's more than just how we talk. People live here by choice. They've chosen to move to New Hampshire, whether it's for retirement, whether it's for raising the family, whether it's for business. There are people here from all over the country, moving here by choice, wanting to be a part of the community, joining the local events, participating in the local charities. It gives a sense of community. And for retirees, that's very important, especially if you've left a place where you raised your family and looking for that connection. Finding a perfect home is good, but finding a perfect community is what matters. Yes, there is political diversity here, but at the end of the day, people respect each other, and that's what matters. And we come together when it counts. Now that strong community and natural beauty attracts more than just great neighbors. Con number 5, seasonal traffic from tourism. Traffic is something that sneaks up on us every year and is a surprise to people that have just moved here. Most of the year, getting around New Hampshire in these small towns is a breeze. You can easily drive up and down the streets, there's no traffic lights, and it's easy to get from here to there. But when the tourists show up, everything changes. Every fall, around 3.7 million people come up to look at the foliage, and that's no joke. The good news is, this doesn't last very long, and it's usually on the weekends. And it's usually easily navigated around. Well worth the hassle, because soon enough, the season will change, things will quiet down, and we'll be on to the next activities. Most of the resort areas, the ski areas, the lakes, the mountains, it's like anywhere. If you're there on a Saturday, you're gonna deal with long lines and big crowds. But if you're lucky enough to enjoy New Hampshire during the week, or you live here, it's like you have the place to yourself. So yeah, the traffic can be annoying, but the good news is it's probably worth waiting for. And if you're here and you're a local and you've learned the workarounds, you won't be waiting in traffic as much as them. Pro number 5, access to modern amenities. The last big reason that people fall in love with New Hampshire, and it often happens after they settle in, is they realize how much this place has to offer. We have real good food, real good restaurants, and lots of shopping. And depending on where you settle, there's usually a hospital right nearby. Oh, you're up in the sticks, you're in the woods, right? Tiny little towns, very little to do. Yes, if that's what you want, you can find that. But we also have small cities. We have small towns with lots of restaurants and shopping and plenty to do. We have Manchester, which is our largest city with an airport. You've got Keene, college town, Durham, another college town. We also take our infrastructure seriously. Our roads and bridges, we have $1.4 billion in the next few years being invested in our state to make the roads smooth and the bridges safe. Take Portsmouth, for example. Small seacoast town, lots of shops, breweries, restaurants. It is one of the most unique and charming downtowns in the country. The point is you're not giving up modern to live in New Hampshire. Yes, we have that small town feel, but we have access to great roadways, a great healthcare system and hospitals. And yes, there might be some crowds, but that means there's something worth looking at or attending. Here's what I've learned after helping hundreds of retirees relocate and move here. It's not about if you can handle the snow or avoid the taxes. It's about if you're the type of person who wants to trade some conveniences for quality of life. The ones who love it here didn't come looking for perfection. They came knowing the trade-offs and knew it was worth the decision. Now, if you're serious about making a move, don't wait till spring when every other retiree is looking and you'll have a lot of competition. Shoot me an email to adam@thedowgroup.com or reach out using the information below, and we can find you a home that checks all of the boxes. The home that checks most of the boxes tend to move very quickly. And if you want to avoid the biggest mistakes people make and can cost them thousands of dollars, watch my next video. I break down the waterfront tax trap, the waterfront features that actually matter, and what most people do backwards. The link's on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.